Hey everyone, welcome to Be Our Guest, our weekly virtual happy hour with industry professionals. I'm Janki, Artistic Director of Live and in Color. We are an artist-serving organization dedicated to developing new stage works that promote and celebrate diversity. We still have a significant amount of money to raise before our developmental retreat in September, so please consider making a tax-deductible donation today at liveandincolor.org. All donations go towards supporting our artists in the creation of groundbreaking and inclusive new work. Now, grab your cocktail or drink and start leaving questions for our wonderful guest in the comments. Please welcome director, professor, and actor from shows like Law & Order and Blue Bloods. Say hello to the amazing Shanga Parker. Hello, sir. How are you?
Hi. Good. How are you?
Great to see you.
Great to see you.
Thank you for joining me today.
Oh, of course. And I want to say
tonight, because I believe you are somewhere very exotic. Where are you right now?
Exotic. I'm in Reykjavik, Iceland.
Oh, wow. And what time is it there right now? It's like evening, right?
Yeah, it's after 6.
Okay. Is that home for you originally, or is that a new home? Well, how did you end up there?
It's a chosen home. No, we live in New York. We're based in New York. That's just been the last 10 years. And we've been coming back and forth. My wife is Icelandic. She has, all of her family is here. So the decision to move even from the West Coast to New York had to do with being closer. And now we have a place here and we come whenever we can, a little retreat for when New York gets to be too much in all of the ways, especially right now in the heat, the summer. It's
I'm sure.
Crazy.
Sure. And is New York originally home for you, or where were you as a young person?
Yeah, we could spend the next 30 minutes talking about that. I was born in Michigan. We moved, my parents like to move a lot, so we moved around there. We left when I was 13 to move to Pittsburgh. Then I went to school in Rhode Island. I went to graduate school in San Diego, lived in LA for a while, Seattle for 15 years, and now New York.
Wow, you really have been all over the place. Thank you for joining me today. I'm really excited to talk to you. I always ask our guests, what was the spark for the business? What was your introduction to the arts as a young person pursuing this crazy business?
Speaking of summer, it was a summer. It's around 9 years old, right? It seems to be when everybody. My parents wanted to get me and my brother out of the house, so they sent us to the local. This is in Chelsea, Michigan. Local summer fair extravaganza, right? There was singing, there was dancing. They did the hustle, acting, and they made me, as a little 9-year-old, the MC of the thing. There was something about being out there that everyone tries to put it in words and it seems to fail, but that feeling of, okay. And I've just been around it. And then, along the way, decisions to keep doing it because, I don't know, desire, love, think about life in different ways. So that's, that was the genesis.
And did you initially start out acting? Was that your first was that the entry drug before you started teaching?
Yeah. I think that gets everybody. Some of the best designers and stage managers I know, even the worst designers and stage managers I know, everybody passes through acting at some point. Yeah. And mine led to more acting and directing and now teaching.
And how did the teaching come about? How did that sort of evolve?
In graduate school, I got to be friends. Well, my teacher in graduate school and his wife, we reconnected years later. Robin Hunt and Steve Pearson are their names. Really amazing people. And Robin brought me up to the University of Washington to teach one class, one semester. I had expressed interest and we were very good friends. And I just kept wanting more and ended up doing it full time. And just a month ago or 2 months ago, I completed my 25th year of teaching.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Congratulations. That's amazing. And I know you've taught in so many different places, including currently the movement and acting teacher at NYU Tisch. How did you first begin learning about the different movement techniques, and why did that avenue of education in the theater interest you most?
Yeah, that's a very good question as a follow-up. It was Steve Pearson, my teacher in graduate school, studied a specific method, the Suzuki method of actor training. Mm-hmm. And his wife also, they were in the first group to go to Japan and to bring Suzuki over and work in the States. And for some reason, I struggled in graduate school. I was quite young when I went and quite immature when I was there. But the movement part I could get. That felt like arithmetic. I could do 2 + 2 is 4. And in acting, there is no right. And even in this work, there was no right, but there was a form, and I could do the form. So I felt like I accomplished something. And thinking about entering a character through physicality, not necessarily relying on an emotional something, but being able to do something physically and being able to repeat it. You can repeat something physically. You can't always repeat something emotionally. It was very intriguing to me. Mm-hmm. And it stayed with me for the longest time. And at the University of Washington, I didn't really teach it. My wife saw the listing for NYU. I felt like punching above my weight at the time for a movement teacher in Meisner, and I hadn't really done much of either. But it fit. It really fit. It was a mind-blowing thing to see how Suzuki, Japanese movement guy, and Meisner, none of the above, agreed on what acting is.
Yeah. Well, it kind of leads me to my next question. How can you explain for our viewers who aren't, theater folk, can you explain how the movement informs the work for your students and how it helps them, how it helps you working on it?
The major tenets of the work have to do with working from a low center, knowing what that feels like, efficiency with movement, and the ability to focus for a long period of time on something. Being able to control the movement is a process of releasing control. It's all there. It's stripping away what is in the way of allowing one to stand on one leg, right? Everyone can balance, right? To some extent. So being able to do a form and understand that and work from there, then every decision physically for character becomes just that. It's a decision to make, not a default that you always do. However much you want to transform physically for a character, right?
Yeah. Well, I know, I hear from all your students that you're an amazing, amazing teacher, and you have inspired a lot of young actors over the years. As a teacher now, do you find yourself looking back and thinking about role models that inspired you? Who were those people when you were growing up and encouraging you along the way?
Jenny Denyer gave me the lead in the 8th grade play. She saw something.
What play was that?
I cannot remember. I can't remember. I would assume it's very light. And then again, to mention their names again, Robin Hunt and Steve Pearson. Their theatrical aesthetic, how they think about the work in a practical way.
Yeah.
Very tangible, doable, and they're 2 of the best teachers I ever had, ever.
Yeah.
I hear them in my head every time I walk into a room. I'm sure you have folks like that, right?
Absolutely. You have those people who really shape who you end up being as an artist.
Yeah.
you have, in addition to all your teaching, you work as an actor all the time. You've been featured on television shows such as Blue Bloods and Mr. Robot, and most recently, New Amsterdam. Busy guy. What's it like balancing your acting and the teaching career? How does that work?
Yeah. I did want to mention two other names of people, George Houston Bass at Brown University and Floyd Gaffney at UC San Diego. They both have passed, Black teachers in major institutions. And while I was young at the time and didn't know I was going to do this as a career in academics, hearing them and being around them, seeing them negotiate this white academic world has really helped me in my academic career. So you're very flattering about my acting career and featured in. In short, I'm not that busy with acting.
Well, right now, no one is, but
right. Even before, what sums it up was, I auditioned for Law and Order. Everybody goes through this. Every New York actor, right? It's a rite of passage. You got to get Law and Order. I had auditioned. I got close on really nice roles on it. Then I landed one. It was a 2-line Indian doctor, no accent, which is why I was interested in taking it. I get to set, I'm so excited, finally Law and Order, right? I get to meet Mariska Hargitay, and I love the work that she does in the world. So I see in the dressing room a former student of mine. It's like, oh my God, Alberto, how great, nice to see you, what's going on? He's like, just working. And he said, are you here for the day? I was like, yeah, kind of in and out. You here for the day? He's like, no, I've been here all week. I have 4 more days to go. That said, the nature and spirit of your question, it gets easier with self-tapes. Sometimes the schedule would come right in the middle of class, and I would go to an audition thinking I should be teaching, and that's not great. It's a good problem to have when it comes up. It just right now it's a little infrequent. Yeah.
Well, fingers crossed, things are coming back, and hopefully, there will be more of it.
Yeah.
We definitely are gearing up for our first in-person season at Live and in Color, and at Live and in Color, our mission is to connect diverse communities to create new stage works. I always ask this of my guests: what does having a diverse working environment mean to you?
That's a great question. I'll answer this by way of how I approach teaching, because I think that is a diverse working environment. And that is, so, I love what Live in Color is doing. I love the mission behind it, all that you're after. Because in the end, the goal, what I find in the room and related to what you're doing there, is that every voice gets heard, every person gets seen, and all of that is put into the mix of what shows up in the performance. And I think the audience feels something, may not be able to put their finger on it, but the fact that everyone in the room had something to do with what we see in some way, or had the ability to be part of the conversation, felt like they were a part of the conversation. That's what that means to me.
Yeah, no, it's so beautifully said. As the world hopefully is evolving, how do you think we, the we of us or the world or the industry, can provide more access to BIPOC artists moving forward? What are from your perspective, what are some steps we should be taking?
Yeah, I think the the simple answer is just to give more opportunities, to be cognizant of who is coming and to make sure that there's a wide variety of people represented.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, this is a great question. I think a lot of people are wrestling with this exact moment, right? So does it mean an entire festival, weekend reading and performance of people from Japan, and then you move to Mongolia, right? And then you move to, or do you try to mix and match in the course of a season, you know? And where do you find the people who haven't had that opportunity? And I'm sure everybody is looking for, right, everything.
Yeah, it's no, it's an exciting time, and I hope people stick to their guns and keep exploring and you know, as you said, giving more opportunities and hiring people of color. I always go back to like just give people jobs.
Right. Yeah.
So, we have a few questions from viewers that I would like to share with you. So, how did teaching over Zoom affect how you teach movement? I know a lot of people have questions about that.
Yes.
And you're still doing it, right? You're teaching virtually.
In the middle of it, yep. I have a class tomorrow. Well, in sum, what it forced me to do, and other colleagues, is to get back to what is the basic thing? What is the absolute underlying educational goal that we're trying to impart? And how can you get there given this medium?
Yeah.
It took a little while to figure it out. I'm still, every day is a little bit, you know, in such a beautiful way. So these two things, one, what are the goals? And then the sense of keeping it alive, you know, having a plan, but letting the thing breathe and moving where it wants to move.
Uh-huh.
If I can carry those two things back to the room when we're in person, I think this all would have, no, it's bullshit. This was really tough. But those things, that's a really positive takeaways in terms of teaching and hopefully learning.
I think we have another question. When will there be more Saturday Suzuki classes?
Oh, that's somebody from the inside.
Yeah, I guess so. S29. I don't know whether you know who that is.
I won't try to guess. Right. Well, I'm waiting to see what's going to happen at NYU. I did hear that there's a show rehearsing without masks and no social distancing, and they're singing. So that bodes well. And if that's the case, if we can congregate in a space without worrying about social distancing, doing movement without masks, then I will push to start Saturday Suzuki in the fall.
Fantastic.
That's when 19 something, yes.
One more. Emma says, when working on a new character, do you focus on the physical life of the character first?
That is such a great question. It depends on what comes first. If the internal stuff starts to click, then the physical stuff will kind of happen, but that doesn't happen very often. So yes, if, I mean, it passes through physical at some point, but first, if I'm not feeling anything internally, and we build around that.
Yeah. Oh, so much to explore.
Yes.
This has been such an amazing conversation. We are already out of time. It flies by. I am, as I said, a huge fan. I can't wait to see you back on a screen somewhere very soon. Before we go, please consider supporting our organization by going to liveincolor.org to donate. Every donation, no matter how small, helps us provide resources to artists to create groundbreaking new work. And join us next week when we chat with journalist and critic whose writing has been featured in the New York Times, NBC News, and CNN. She's also editor of Broadway.com and senior editor of American Theater, the wonderful Deep Tron. It's going to be another amazing conversation. To see more episodes of Be Our Guest, please make sure to like us on Facebook and subscribe to us on YouTube. Thank you to everyone who tuned in today, and thank you, Shanga, for joining me.
Thank you.
And would you lead us in a little toast as we say goodbye?
To infinite possibilities.
Excellent. Infinite possibilities. Thank you for joining me.